So, number 22 from Indiana. I mean, makes history quite a lot. Makes history an awful lot. And she's after making history.
ESPN just dropped another Caitlinized bombshell. They're going to broadcast the Indiana Fever's preseason game nationally. We're talking about a preseason matchup that sold 15,000 tickets in mere minutes now, getting the prime-time ESPN treatment. This is completely unprecedented. Preseason games barely get local coverage, let alone national airtime. But that's exactly what happens when Caitlin Clark is in the mix.
This is the first time an exhibition game has been picked up ever in WNBA history. And we already know why they're picking up this game. This should come as no surprise to nobody why they decided to pick up this very game. And I'm here to tell you, the first letter of this young lady's name start with a C, and the last letter of this lady's last name ends with a K. Caitlin Clark?
This is exactly what the WNBA has always dreamed of. Mainstream attention-packed arenas and a massive national audience. And now, thanks almost entirely to Caitlin Clark's undeniable star power, they're finally getting their wish. But wait, it gets even crazier. This latest bombshell about ESPN airing a preseason game comes right on the heels of some other huge developments that absolutely prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Caitlin Clark isn't just a star. She's the star. The league might not publicly go Allen, but all the signs point to many in the WNBA orbit, including past haters, embracing Caitlin this season. Of course, with all this buzz, there are still haters raging against the Caitlin cash machine. Seriously, you won't believe some of the wild stuff being thrown around out there. We're about to dive deep into all of that drama, but first, if you think at least 2 million people will tune into a WNBA preseason game, which honestly might be conservative, smash that like button. All right. Let's unpack this bonkers situation. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever have officially transcended just primetime dominance. They've become arguably the hottest ticket in all of North American sports. This isn't hyper-exaggeration. They're literally the new primetime obsession. First, let's break down exactly how we got here.
Star power on those teams. It's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale. The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, champion Liberty at 32.
That's right. The Fever landed a mind-blowing 41 out of 44 games on national television or major streaming platforms, whether it's ABC, ESPN, or CBS Flip, on almost any sports network this season. And you'll probably catch Caitlin Clark casually pulling up from way downtown.
That can discourage Alyssa Thomas from making some of her great passes.
No one picks up Clark, who hands the three.
The league has honestly never experienced this level of exposure for one player or one team. Not even close. Indiana isn't exactly a perennial contender or a huge media market. But none of that matters when you've got Caitlin Clark, the undisputed biggest draw in the game right now after witnessing last year's eye-popping rating spike. Every time Clark stepped onto the court TV, executives basically said, "Yeah, give us more Caitlin." Like immediately flashback to her rookie campaign in 2024, when the WNBA smashed its modern viewership records, racking up over 54 million total viewers across all broadcasts, and who was the main attraction in nearly every one of the highest-rated matchups, you guessed it. Caitlin Clark and the Fever, a regular season game featuring the Fever on ABC, pulled in an incredible 223 million viewers, and another game on CBS topped even that with 225 million viewers. Those are prime-time NBA numbers happening right now in women's hoops, all fueled by the Caitlin effect. And then, just when you thought it couldn't get bigger, the playoffs arrived. Caitlin's first-round playoff series was a ratings bonanza, pulling in bigger audiences than the rounds that followed. Without her one Fever playoff game alone, snagged an incredible 25 million viewers, easily topping even the 2024 WNBA Finals, which averaged around 157 million viewers. Networks like ESPN, ABC, and CBS are literally scrambling to grab a piece of the Caitlin Clark spotlight. We're talking weekend afternoon games, primetime weeknight matchups. Basically, whenever people are watching TV, Caitlin and the Fever will probably be there. ABC has the Fever slated 5 times this season. ESPN is airing multiple Fever games, and there are even digital exclusives just to capitalize on her massive online following. It's honestly something we've never witnessed before in the WNBA, A complete media blitz centered around a single player. This type of superstar treatment is typically reserved for NBA giants like LeBron James or Steph Curry to see a WNBA rookie commanding. This kind of attention is beyond unprecedented. It's absolutely astonishing. And hey, if your favorite WNBA team isn't the Fever, don't sweat it. You'll still catch them plenty. Just tune in whenever they're up against Caitlin.
Secret that the Indiana Fever are by far the most popular team in the WNBA, and I'm so glad that we are finally I don't know if admitting it is the right word, but they're finally acting on it. And you guys, I'm happy that they're acting on it because this news is not only just good for the Indiana Fever and Indiana Fever fans, it is good for the entire...
Demand for Fever road games exploded to such a degree last year that at least 6 other teams had no choice but to relocate their matchups against Indiana to significantly larger arenas. Case in point, the Dallas Wings had to shift one of their June games to a full-size 20,000-seat NBA arena just to handle the massive wave of Caitlin-inspired fans. The Chicago Sky followed suit, deciding that their usual arena simply wasn't enough, so they moved 2 games to the iconic United Center, which holds nearly 21,000 spectators. And let's not forget the Atlanta Dream. They hilariously claimed a sudden scheduling conflict at their usual venue, conveniently bumping their Fever matchup to the much larger State Farm Arena, home of the NBA's Atlanta Hawks. Now look, I get it. You can't openly say we're switching arenas just to cash in on a visiting superstar, but calling it a random scheduling conflict, that's a little too convenient. Fans immediately picked up on the obvious tactic, playfully labeling Caitlin as the scheduling conflict because apparently every arena magically gets booked solid whenever she's about to show up. But honestly, can you really fault teams for upgrading venues to capitalize on this once-in-a-generation buzz? After all, Caitlin Clark isn't just packing seats, she's practically printing money for everyone involved.
The buzzer! It's an even dozen for Gino Oriana and...
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are by far the most popular team in the WNBA, and I'm so glad that we are finally I don't know if admitting it is the right word, but they're finally acting on it. And you guys, I'm happy that they're acting on it because this news is not only just good for the Indiana Fever and Indiana Fever fans, it is good for the entire WNBA.
First pick in the 2025 WNBA draft, the Dallas Wings select Paige Beckers, University of Connecticut.
Caitlin Clark isn't just a basketball player. She's a full-blown economic stimulus package for the WNBA. Let's take a quick look at what happened last season. League-wide attendance skyrocketed by a whopping 48% with the WNBA, achieving an incredible 154 sellouts, more than triple the previous year. Every arena Caitlin visited transformed from half-empty seats to standing room-only spectacles, but nowhere was the Caitlin effect more dramatic than with her own team, the Indiana Fever, last year. The Fever obliterated attendance records, drawing over 340,000 fans at their home games. That's an unbelievable 319% increase from the season before. Let that sink in. A team that barely cracked 80,000 total fans in 2023 suddenly became the hottest ticket in town, hitting over 340,000 attendees in just 1 year. That, my friends, is the Caitlin Clark phenomenon at full throttle. Look, some people might nitpick or grumble out of jealousy, but what Caitlin has done is undeniably extraordinary for the WNBA. She's single-handedly creating a type of mainstream demand for women's basketball we've literally never witnessed before. Of the league is stepping into completely uncharted territory, all because one player has captured America's attention like never before. And just when you thought it couldn't possibly get more impressive, check this out. The Fever recently sold out 15,000 tickets for a preseason game in Iowa against the Brazilian national team in less than an hour. And now ESPN just upped the ante by announcing they'll broadcast that very same preseason matchup on national TV. That's right, a WNBA preseason game is going national for the first time ever. I previously suggested around 2 million viewers tuning in. Yeah, that might seem bold, but given the latest data from recent weeks, the prediction could actually be conservative. The Caitlin Clark effect is even more enormous than we realized, and believe it or not, there are people who are seriously unhappy about all this attention she's bringing.